I got the worst RV advice that I've ever received.
Not exactly what I expected to be doing in the middle of this afternoon.
So we're driving around technically illegal now. Look at this.
I know.
Isn't this awesome?
It's awesome, and it's beautiful, and it's quiet.
And there's only one RV here right now. 25 bucks a night, full hookups, long, big rig, friendly sites, and an amazing sunset to boot.
Great view. This is great.
You know,
I wish all places were this accommodating.
Yeah, and you just show up and just pay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo, it's blowing outside. This was a really awesome stay here. Perry Lake Campground here in Perry, Oklahoma. Camp next to cows and Perry Lake right there, and even an oil well. Just got to shout out to this spot here. This was a great campground, and 25 bucks a night, self-honor system to pay. And we were almost alone, one other RV at all times, and so nice, peaceful, quiet area, and time to get on the road. So, but if you're out traveling through Oklahoma, right off of 35, check out Perry Lake Campground.
Got the olives and dinner. Did you get the wine?
Got it.
Awesome.
Look at this. So each box we get from Bright Cellars, and we rate those individual wines. That means these will match even better.
I love this company, Bright Cellars. I love how they curate and they choose the wine specifically for your taste, and you don't have to go shopping and be overwhelmed by all those bottles of wine.
Plus, if you don't like a bottle you receive, they will replace it for you at no cost in your next box. This is cool that Bright Cellars sends a card for each wine. So if you bring out the wine at a party, you kind of sound like you know what you're talking about.
Bitterness is sensed at the back of the palate like a bitter IPA or dark chocolate.
Which one should we try next? Bush Telly. And this has fruity flavors of juicy plum, strawberry, and raspberry.
Ooh, I like that.
With subtle notes of campfire smoke, black pepper, and eucalyptus.
Ooh.
Yeah, and guess what? I don't need that. How easy.
Thank you. Flavors, the notes coming through are so good. Wine legs, some people call them tears, are the droplets that form on the inside of your wine glass. So heavy and slow, which this one is a higher sugar or alcohol content.
So it's really cool how much information they send on these cards. You know what's cool about this?
What?
Bright Cellars is giving our viewers, you guys, 50% off the first 6-bottle box you order.
50%?
Yeah.
Whoa, are you gonna put the link down below?
It will be down below in the description.
Wow, you guys gotta try it.
So check it out.
Totally. Cheers.
Cheers. One issue with this site right here is
because this park is open year-round, they've got the faucet is buried in the ground to prevent freezing, but got a little leak in my hose setup and it filled that up. So I'm gonna have to reach in that dirty water.
Wow, this is some of the highest winds we've ever seen. It's gonna be a real fun day traveling for sure. So you get the honors of reaching down in there and disconnecting shutting off the faucet and disconnecting it.
Okay.
It's kind of nice. This campground's open year-round. You got these little wells here that go in the ground so it doesn't freeze, although when there's a leak or it rains, they fill up.
Gassing up at the gas station right after leaving the park because Logan has a special request. Tom and I had date night the other night. Logan didn't get to go with us, and we're like, oh, is there anything we can bring you? And he said churros. So I'm like, okay, I've had churros before, they're good. So I got 3, 2 for Logan and 1 for me because I wanted to try them. And oh my gosh, new favorite dessert ever. So before we leave the area, we are going back for more.
I've got some world famous churros here. I've been to a lot of theme parks, a lot of Mexican restaurants, eaten a lot of churros, different types of filling, but these are the best I've ever had. Yum.
So another thing I want to talk about this restaurant, Tom and I came here for date night, and I go in there and ask for a margarita, and they said, well, we don't have margaritas. But then we come out and get in the Jeep, and their sign on the window has this Mexican guy holding a margarita. But they did have beer, and we put it in this, they put it in this special glass with the rimmed with lime. It was awesome. It was so good. We didn't take cameras in because it was a date night, and you know, we deserve some downtime too. So anyway, let's bite into these. These have an interesting filling. You can kind of see it right there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We try to do low carb, but then things like this happen. So what do you do? Oh, if anybody has favorite restaurants, food, desserts, whatever, let us know down in the comments. We're gonna keep track of that.
Fuel economy is 6.3 miles to the gallon.
Wow, geez, that bites. This wind is nuts.
I think we're going straight into it. It's possible I'll have to pull over and let a little air out of some tires. Got a tire pressure alarm right now, so I'm going to pull over.
Okay.
So right there, the rear passenger tires at 132. Well, I knew it at the time when I was getting the oil change in the truck. The tech, he filled up the trailer tires, but he put a lot of air pressure in there when the tires were really cold. And I thought, well, it's okay. But now we're, you know, getting close to 90 degrees, and on the TPMS, they've got alarms for how high the pressure should go. 132 PSI for my tires, and we had one tire just hit that. I think I'm gonna let air out of all of them just to be on the safe side to get them back down to normal, so I can take the TPMS sensor off. It's already gone down to 131. So the alarm went off at 132 PSI, which is what I set it for my G-rated Westlake tires. And they were all getting close to that, so I dropped about 6 to 8 pounds of pressure on each tire. They're all around 120 to 124, depending on if they're still in the sun or not. I think we're going to be okay with that. I'll have to keep watching in case I've taken too much out, but we went from really cold temperatures to really hot. So I've had lots of blowouts in the past, so super happy with this guy right here. Might have saved a blowout today. This reminds me of the worst RV advice I have ever received, and a good time to maybe talk about tire safety. So I've had a lot of experience with RV tires, and by experience I mean some problems on the road. I've had 7 tire issues, and 7 of those were blowouts. Thankfully, none of them on this RV. They were all on my old RV, the Columbus. These are G-rated Westlake tires, and I think these have been great. Now, after all of the tire issues that I had with the Columbus, we upgraded to G-rated tires on that RV, and they were Salins. And I think I would probably, when these are ready to be replaced, I would probably go back to the Salins. I think they give you the best bang for your dollar. Well, maybe bang is not the right word for it. One of my first tips would be, you get what you pay for when you buy tires. If you buy cheap tires, you're gonna end up having problems on the road potentially. And now, how would I know when I should replace these? Well, check the tread? Probably not. It's not very likely that I'm going to wear out the tread on these before the tires actually age out. And by that, actually, tires have something that happens to them called dry rot. So they say about every 3 to 6 years, you should have your tires replaced. And there's actually a date code on here, right here actually. It's 12/18, and that means the manufacture date on these tires was in 2018. So I've got a few years before I need to replace these. The old joke about RV tires is that the manufacturers only put good enough tires for you to be able to take your RV right off the lot to the tire dealer to replace the tires. Now, I don't know if that's as true these days as it was a few years ago. I know many of the manufacturers are paying more attention to putting the right size tires on RVs now and giving you some room for weight. We'll put a link down below to that tire video where we had all of the blowouts, and you can get a little more detail about what happened. But long story short, I got the worst RV advice that I've ever received, and that was from a manager at an RV dealership that recommended that I go buy used tires to put on the Columbus. And bad idea, only saved a few dollars, and as you can see in this video, it caused a lot of damage. Bad advice. And at that point, I didn't know any better. It sounds bad right now. So I'm like, why did I follow that advice? But don't go cheap like I did. Buy a good quality tire. And make sure your tires are properly inflated. And sometimes your worst issues happen when they're not inflated with enough pressure. And recently, install the Easy Tire TPMS system. That's a tire pressure management system. This is something I've waited way too long to put on, but I have been loving this, as you can see in today's video about how this saved me from potentially having a blowout. And I can see my pressures right here and the temperature of the tire, and just like what happened is an alarm went off, and I immediately knew I needed to let some air pressure out of the tire when they were getting hot. I would recommend the Easy Tire TPMS system, but there's a number of them out there, and yeah, well worth the investment. And the last tip is don't overload your entire RV. Make sure you actually get your RV weighed, which is something we haven't done yet with this RV, and we're still doing upgrades and installing things. So we're gonna have to do that coming up just to see where we're at. But it is a toy hauler rated at 20-some thousand pounds, and I really highly doubt we have that much in there because we don't have any big toys like a vehicle or an ATV or something like that in there. Get your RV weighed, don't overload it, and distribute your weight evenly in your RV so you're not putting too much pressure on one side of your axle. And one more tip, I would say, do a visual inspection of your tires before you hit the road. And besides checking the pressure, just make sure you haven't damaged the tire somewhere, caught a nail, caught a screw somewhere. I mean, this goes for your entire RV before you get on the road. I always do a visual look around several times a day when we're on the road. I hope that helps you guys. Stay safe out there on the road. Now back to the rest of our video. So it's been one of those days where a lot of small things have been happening to delay our progress. So I just got online, found 1,000 Trails Park that's a couple more hours south of us, and we're just gonna go head there for the rest of the week, get work done, and not be traveling in this crazy wind. But the next issue that, well, you guys spotted in the followed Jeep is some stuff hanging off the bottom of the RV that I better remove before we get back on the road. The previous owner had some work done down here. There's some tape hanging down, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. Might as well take a look under here and make sure the rest of it looks good. This is not exactly what I expected to be doing in the middle of this afternoon, laying underneath the RV in the middle of a Walmart parking lot. I hope they're not coming for us.
We're still in Oklahoma, right?
I think so.
There's mountains in Oklahoma?
Boy, we're really climbing.
No kidding, this is so bizarre. I think that looks good if you want to come back and check it out.
As we've mentioned before, getting your mail or other important items sent or shipped to you can be a challenge on the road. This is our latest challenge, and it's kind of a big deal. It is the plates or the license plates for the Jeep. And we've had 2 sets of temporary tags sent to us, and the dealership now says they can't send us any more temporary tags. It's illegal for them to do that. And our second set of temporary tags is expired. So we're driving around technically illegal now. I talked to somebody at this dealership that said they would deal with it, but she just gave me some other numbers and said no one's answering her and to try these other numbers. I've spent hours trying to track down the plates for the Jeep, and we've already paid the dealership for the plates, so now I've got to call again and try to reach somebody else. So I can't even say how many times I've called. A dozen times at least. The salesperson has stopped responding to me. Now I'm going to call the accounting department.
Hold one moment. I apologize, I'm unable to answer your call.
So this is basically what's been happening. You get a voicemail and they never call you back, or the voicemail's full. So we're going to go right to the supervisor. I've been waiting for my license plates for a Jeep that I purchased back at the end of July, and no one has been able to help me, and I'm told you're the manager in charge of everything and you'd be able to help me. Please call me back. It's another voicemail left, more time wasted, and here we go, continually driving the Jeep around with expired temporary tags now.
My name is Jude, this is Bo, and we watched you for about a year
before
we actually went on our own.
That's so cool.
We've been on our own now a year.
I think the first video I saw was you heading down to Florida. I love that you show that, oops, this is what I should have done. This is what I'm going to do from now on. Hate to say it, brother, but Beach Tribe.
Hey now.
Yeah. This is a couple that inspired us.
Well, thank you for that.
And they will appreciate what you're doing too, even though they can't do it themselves. They dream about someday.
Someday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we like to show our adventures too. We're doing a little bit more of that lately. You know, with some people that either choose not to or can't. Awesome.
Thanks.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
That's not the knock we expected to get at the door. Somebody's kid ran into the side of my truck with their bike or something. So I've got to come out here and check it out.
His handlebar hit right there, his head hit right there, and
Oh,
the bike
wow.
ended up laying down right there.
Oh, wow. I don't see anything, so, you know, truck's a little dirty, but thanks for knocking. So I hope he's okay.
Oh, yeah.
So
He's resilient.
Packing up to leave Lake Texoma campground here in Gordonville, Texas. Kind of an unplanned stay, but this is one of the nicer Thousand Trails parks. It's a core park, so you can stay up to 3 weeks. I did want to mention something about this park, and you find that with certain Thousand Trails parks, that they actually lock up the 50 amp sites here, and you pay $3 extra per day for the 50 amp, which, you know, that's the first time I think we ran into it, but it is something that we have heard from other Thousand Trails, but beautiful sight here. The fall, still beautiful trees here, and yeah, we actually really love this spot, so hate to see it go. Ran into a lot of people that watch our videos here, which is really cool. So, all right, and we're running behind like usual, so we're out of here. What a recommended was for the G-rated tires, and I don't think you want that guy. He landed right on your arm.
What was that? Really?
A wasp.
Oh my gosh.
You know what's gross?
You enjoy that. I'll pass. I already had lunch.
Here's a souvenir. Moo. It's okay, you can keep eating.
The stars.